Islam Religion, Life and Death Lesson, Goldammer, CST, Spring 2017. Today we take a brief look at the religion of Islam. It's a snapshot into the sacred writings that launched this religious conviction, its viewpoint on life and death, and the rituals that are practiced as a part of this culture. People and cultures are extremely complex, and the religion of Islam is no different. What I share with you today is a pattern of the culture overall and only a brief examination into the Islamic religion. So where do we begin? Well, over 1400 years ago, the religion of Islam began, following the very first revelation to the Prophet Muhammad when he was only 40 years old. Muhammad and his followers spread the teaching of Islam throughout the Arabian Peninsula into countries that we know now as Yemen, Oman, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates, as well as a portion of southern Iraq and Jordan. You may have seen sacred writing of this religion pronounced and spelled many different ways, Koran or Quran or Qur''an. Well, the spelling Qur''an is the most correct spelling, but they are all transliterations from the original Arabic and pronounced Quran. A transliteration is the conversion of text from one script to another, such as if we were talking about Latin to Greek. The Quran is the sacred writing of Islam and literally means the recitation. The text was verbally revealed to Muhammad by the angel Gabriel over a 23-year period, 610 to 632. It's important to note that it is believed that the Quran was given to Muhammad, not written by him. For Islam, the author is God. Every single word is God. Unlike America's practice of separating church and state, Islam does not distinguish between community and religion. They are one in the same. A Muslim's life has traditionally been controlled by the law, and it shapes society religiously and politically. So, if I decide that Islam is the religion for me, what is my life's purpose, and what does death mean for me? Well, life's purpose is to prepare for death. During this life, there are core assumptions that would guide the believer of Islam. First, there is one God. Second, that angels play a very important role in the theology of Islam. They were created by Allah to serve and worship Him. Gabriel is the most important, certainly because of his role in delivering the message of God to Muhammad. Third, the Quran is the most sacred of all the texts. As we talked about earlier, it has very little narrative. Instead, it is more a manual on how to live. Fourth, is a submission is a key component in life's purpose leading to death. So the word Islam itself means submission to God and His will. This is emphasized repeatedly over the life of a Muslim. The final core assumption is predestination. In other words, Muslims believe that Allah is aware of everything that happens and that events in life are predestined to His will. So, demonstrating their strong belief in fate, Muslims frequently employ the phrase, Inshallah, or if God wills it, or the word Inshallah, or God willing. These phrases represent that destiny unfolds according to God's will. In death, there will be judgment. What you have done in life will determine your final existence. Will you go to paradise or hell? Life's good deeds or following God's wishes will lead one to paradise, while the alternative is hell for eternity. Professing you are in Islam is not enough. It is all about those core values that we mentioned before: one God, angels, Quran, submission, and predestination that make up the core values of the Islamic religion. So, how do I learn the Islamic faith? Well, there are 5 pillars of Islam to inform the Muslim belief, values, and perceptions. The pillars show those of the Islam religion how to see this world and the next. Their life is translated into action through the following pillars: statement of belief, prayer, alms, fasting, and pilgrimage. The statement of belief is simply the repetition of the creed, or shahada, also called the profession of faith. These are the first word a child hears at birth and are repeated throughout life. Quote, "There is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is the prophet of Allah." These declarations affirm the notion that you accept the idea of one God and that Muhammad was God's messenger. The second pillar, prayer or salat, is performed 5 times a day. It is a very structured ritual. Almsgiving or zakat is rooted in the notion that everything is a part of God's domain. What you have is only given by God's will. The fourth pillar, fasting or Psalm, is a tradition observed through the holy month of Ramadan. During this period, Muslims do not eat, drink, engage in sexual activity, or smoke. The focus is on spiritual self-discipline, reflection, and the performance of good works. The final pillar, pilgrimage or Hajj, involves traveling to Mecca in Saudi Arabia. This is to affirm devotion to Allah. The trip itself involves many additional symbolic rituals. So in conclusion, worldwide, Islam has over 1 billion, that's with a B, followers equal to Christianity, and is the fastest growing faith in 49 countries. It benefits all of us to communicate, learn, and understand this faith before jumping to predetermined conclusions. Our textbook, Communication Between Cultures, states on page 144, and I quote, "Most Europeans and North Americans have never met a Muslim. So for them, Islam begins in the imagination, more specifically in that corner of the imagination that is colonized by fear." Perceptions of the Islamic faith are often colored by hysteria, generalization, and oversimplification. In this brief time together, we become more knowledgeable about the Islamic religion, its viewpoint on life and death, the sacred writings that guide followers, and the rituals that they practice. We know more and can adjust perceptions that we may have had that weren't accurate. In closing, Maya Angelou says to us, "I did then what I knew how to do. Now that I know better, I do better." Thank you.